Chapter 3. His eyes are closed, and between the slow twirling of that red world he sees her, twirling also. Her hair is spread in a cloud about her green eyes are laughing into his. He touches his finger to his lips, tastes it, and remembers the taste of her. He sighs and smiles. Suddenly his body tenses. He hears the beat of an engine circling in the morning air. His eyes snap open. Above him, blue sky. A shudder runs through him. He knows the sound well. He rolls to his feet and slinks into his little hut, taking his cutting board with his breakfast of fish and fruit with him. He crouches inside, beside the weathered door, waiting as the engine sound grows louder. It halts on the sandy track and spins into quiet. "Jonathan! Johnny!" The boy peers through a crack in the wall. He sees Uncle Mike step out of his motor. The huge man casts his eyes around the little hut with the patch of sand and the little fence, one hand on the door of his motor and a growl on his face. "Johnny, come out here!" The boy knows the big man will not leave. He sighs and steps out into the sun. "Uncle." "How goes it?" "Good," whispers the boy. He does not look at the man's face, but to the ground. "How is it with Uncle?" "Good. It's a nice Sunday." "Yes," says the boy. "You didn't drop your catch at the factory yesterday. Did you go out?" The boy nods. His fire dances in the cooking pit. "You caught nothing?" He nods again. Uncle Mike pushes the door of his motor closed with a click. "There was a tuna run yesterday." The big man takes a step toward the little hut. 7 miles. They caught more than all of us together." The boy remains rooted to the spot. His eyes come up, now fixed to the center of the big man's chest. Uncle Mike steps through the gate, another click as it latches behind him. "There was nothing at the island," whispers the boy. "I laid nets all day." "Where are your nets?" "By the boat." His eyes are fastened on the clear white button of the big man's khaki shirt. Helplessly, he raises them to Uncle Mike's face. "I've been on the beach." Uncle Mike takes a second stride towards him. "Your nets are dry." Panic rises in the boy. "I'm sorry. I didn't lay the nets. I only fished, but there was nothing." "Where were you?" He cannot reply. He looks down, his eyes drawn to the dancing cooking fire. "Sleeping in your boat in the Northern Channel, anchored all day. Sally saw you there, sleeping all day." The big man takes another step closer. "Isn't that right?" "Yes, Uncle, it's right." "And you ask me for petrol?" "I'm sorry, Uncle." "Come here. Come closer to me." The boy shuffles forward. "Come, man, closer to me." Once again the boy shuffles. The big man grabs the boy's shoulder, his fingers iron. "Come, let me look at you." With his left hand, Uncle Mike raises the boy's chin. The boy does not look into his eyes. What does he see? The boy has been told he has a gentle face, a dreamer's face, but it is marred by the cleft in his lip. "Look at me." The big man gives the chin a shake. The boy can no longer hide. Finally, his eyes find those of Uncle Mike's. They are dark also. They promise pain. "What are you hiding from me, Johnny? Why were you not fishing yesterday?" "I was sleeping, Uncle. I fell asleep in my boat. I'm sorry." Uncle Mike begins to knead the flesh of the boy's shoulder. He works his way down, touching the skin over the triceps, feeling its fine formation, and the soft bicep, and the joint of the elbow. The boy shivers, and it frustrates the big man. Why must he be afraid? "What were you doing, Johnny?" "Nothing, Uncle. I promise." Uncle Mike continues to look into his eyes. The boy knows he will break, that his eyes will tell the big man what he seeks. Uncle Mike waits patiently, watching the seed of the lie drawing slowly to the surface. And he continues to knead. He is fascinated by the boy's finely drawn body, so different from the heavy bones of his own. He leaves the intricacy of the boy's hand, scarred and rough, and places his palm on the flesh of his stomach, moving sideways to the hip bone. Suddenly the eyes deliver. Panic. "What is it?" "I'm sorry," the boy whispers. I should have told you. What is it, Johnny? His hand continues its exploration, onto the boy's tattered trousers, searching, feeling, rolling the rough material between his fingers. So, his eyes stay on the boy's as he slips 2 fingers into his pocket. Please. He withdraws his hand, something round in his palm. He holds it up to the morning sun. I wanted to get more before I showed you. The pearl sparkles. Uncle Mike studies it. It is perfect, white and shimmering blue, a living piece of the ocean. You found it at the island? In the pond. A clam came up in my net. I went looking for the bed. I was diving yesterday. That's why Sally saw my boat. Uncle Mike closes his fist around the pearl. He slides it into his pocket. This goes to your debt. The boy nods. Come, says Uncle Mike, turning to his little bucky, his pickup. The boy climbs back into his tattered pants and follows him. The motor buzzes on the long tar road. To the east, the brown felt rises to the distant mountains, and to the west and south, the ocean glitters. They drive with their windows open, and the hot bush-spiced wind covers them. Uncle Mike crowds the cabin. His giant shoulders stoop over the little wheel, his left elbow thrust outward to touch the boy's chest. His goatee is dark and flecked with grey and white, and his brows bristle above his piercing eyes. His giant forearms and wrists rest on the wheel. Sally tells me they sat on a school for an hour. They half filled their hold, then the fish were gone. Uncle Mike scowls at the road. They're sitting just outside our waters, taking our fish. They got lucky, whispers the boy. They use cloud spinners. Our fish don't like cloud spinners. The sun flashes on them. Yesterday the sun came out of cloud. If they were running straight dollies or sardine, they would have cleaned up. Uncle Mike casts an eye sideways at the boy. He sits slightly forward, listening, always listening. His eye wanders to his lip, hidden beneath his sparse beard. Irritation rises in him. The boy's beard irritates him. The beard is like the boy, sparse. I seen them at the harbor, whispers the boy. I can see what they're running. Anyone can see. They don't buy nothing at the harbor, not even food. The boy places his hands on the sun-cracked dashboard, stretching his fingers out. They are long, made to weave knots and thread hooks. To their left, the harbor slides into view. There, at anchor at the tip of the breakwater, float the 5 foreign ships, sleek and dotted all over with antenna. Around them, the local fishing fleet falls apart to the eye. Broken boats they seem, miraculously afloat, streaked with rust and the stains of old diesel. They shooped. The boy shakes his shaggy head, the sound mangled by his lip. Shooped. The word whispers in the cab before the wind wipes it away. The harbor passes. Beyond it is the factory. Uncle Mike clicks his indicator, sliding the wheel left. In the little parking lot, the boy steps from the truck and immediately turns to the back, fishing for his filleting apron and boots. Not today, says Uncle Mike, motioning for the boy to follow. He lumbers along, passing the empty sorting line. On a Sunday, the ladies are home, dozing in the church with their pastor or in the smoky with their beer. Uncle Mike whistles as he walks. A tune from his childhood, he told the boy once. A tune from far away. Into the maze they go, walking chipped corridors and muck-flecked walls ahum with white fluorescence. The smell of this place is always the same. It is fish meal, fish bone and guts and flesh and scales ground, boiled and turned to smoke that hangs. It coats the nose. It smells of work and money. In here are the storage units, the great fridges that in the past would smear the day's bounty with ice, freezing their eyes and fins before they'd be boxed and sent on freighters across the globe. Today, room after room stands empty, their doors ajar, the floors scrubbed and left to dry beneath the blades of the once whirring fans, which now only creak in the wind. Uncle Mike stops at the unit at the end of the corridor, pulling a bright silver handle to make the rubber suck and hiss, and the big door swings open. A blast of cold greets them, and the drone of machines. Careful, Uncle Mike points to the floor. The boy pauses, his bare foot hovering over ice. Their seas are empty. Uncle Mike crosses the iced floor. Boxes of frozen stockfish rise around them. They learn to move far out and find the catch in open water. They can keep their catch alive for months. How do they do it? Uncle Mike turns to a blue plastic crate covered with a blue plastic lid. He flips the lid, revealing water. As a boy, I lived in the cold. We had no ocean, but we had rivers and lakes that would freeze over in the winter. One day a child fell through the ice. He fell in the morning and was found in the afternoon. He nips a corner of sacking from his belt and winds it round his palm. When they pulled him out, his body was frozen stiff. They pulled him by his arm. He was like a piece of wood. He dips his hand into the water, drawing out an ocker. The fish pulls against his iron fingers, contracting its long body to bring mouth to tail and then back again, gills gasping. We placed him beside the fire, and we rubbed him with warm towels and sang to him. He woke. Uncle Mike raises the twisting ocker to his eye. I've been working on something, he says, and pads to the work table. Look. Among the tools and cables and between discarded nuts and angled work lights is a length of PVC pipe, hinged open. Along the edges of both halves are a series of nozzles riveted to the plastic. Inside is a smooth sheet of rubber, soft to the touch. There are clamps at either end of the pipe, as well as in the middle, waiting to clip the contraption closed. Uncle Mike swings the ocker into the length of the pipe and takes half a step back, his left hand dropping to a brass valve. Step back, he says, moments before a blast of nitrogen covers the kicking fish. The vapor clears, the fish is rigid, its gills spread mid-breath. Uncle Mike quickly flips the pipe closed, banging the 3 clamps together, ensuring it is tight. This is the hard part, he mutters, dipping a finger into a pot of grease and smearing it along the seal. He takes up a stopwatch from the mess on the table, clicking it on. Tick, 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 tick. The boy moves from foot to foot, the ice on the floor seeping into his flesh. The clock dial whirs. I've been working on 2 minutes. Tick, 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 tick. Uncle Mike bangs the clock to 0 and reaches for the pipe. With a cloth, he wipes the smear of grease and quickly unhitches the clamps. With a hiss, the pipe falls open. There is the ocker, the ice already leaving its body. It gasps, one eye still frozen. From behind the dorsal fin, a seam of ice runs down its spine. Eat, sighs the ocker, a turning, fading sound in the mind of the boy. We need a better way to refrigerate. We need to find a way. Uncle Mike pushes a finger into the ocker's side. The flesh is ruined, iced sludge. What if there was a way? What if we could freeze our catch and wake them again weeks later? What if we could send the freshest fish all across the world? Then we could compete. The boy studies the fish. See if you can do anything. Maybe you can dream a way to fix my machine. Maybe you can sing to this fish and make it live, or talk to it like you do. Maybe it will tell you the secret I am looking for. What about my pearl? Whispers the boy. My pearl, says the big man. My pearl to your debt. Uncle Mike turns. His shadow retreats. The boy is alone. He studies the pipe, the rig of nozzles. This detritus of Uncle Mike's doing strewn across the workbench. He places his hand on the ruined fish. Deep down, so quiet that it is a thought behind a thought, he can still hear the little fish calling. Eat. Gently he places his palm on the ruined head, and gently he crushes it, letting that lonely sound fade. It's better so. He gathers the body and slops it into a bucket. With a cloth he wipes the pipe clean, at the same time testing the rubber seal. He shakes his head. Stupid, he says, the word forever twisted. Stupid. He does not work on the pipe and he does not sing to the dead ocker. After all, what could he do? Instead he cleans the table and dreams of her.